Hello, this is Smizla the Slayer. I'm doing a live Blitz chess game commentary. We're into the Sicilian, the closed Sicilian. I think I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, just play knight to c6. I don't really have too much specific against this type of opening. I'm going to go ahead and play e5 here, with the idea of knight takes e5, or I can play g6 and maybe just try to play h takes, yeah, just sort of break open the king side a bit. Going to go ahead and play knight to f6, and if g5, I guess I'll just go to d7 maybe, and then if f6, I'm not really too worried about any of that. Basically, I'm going to try to castle queenside then, so I'm going to go ahead and take here. Maybe play bishop to d7, queen to c7, queenside castle. I will play h6 here because they think it's pretty helpful to keep this knight out of the g5 square. I do have control over d5. I don't have control over b5, but knight to b5 isn't as good because I have just queen to b6 attacking the knight. Knight to d5 though is a little bit better because I don't have queen to b6, so I just have to go back, I suppose. Okay, so he's going to play knight to d5 anyway. I'm going to just go like this, and I think I'll be taking one of these pawns. I think he probably wants to play maybe f6 here, maybe c4. If c4, then I'll just take this pawn. If f6, then I'll just take this. And this f6 pawn is cramping on my king side, but I can just castle on the queen side and get kind of out of there and not have to worry about it too much. My dark square bishop was doesn't really have too much to do, but I think these pawns will prove weaker than they are cramping on my bishop. So we'll just have to see how that pans out. And there's not a whole lot tactically going on here. My opponent's thinking for a long time, so it's normally I'm the one who's low on time. So but it's always good to try to think of other just parts of the position. I think he'd probably want to play bishop to e3. Queen to d2, castle queenside. Maybe keep the king in the center, like play b4, or c3, b4, bishop to a3, and just try to break open the king side, anticipating that my king will be on the c8 square. I don't think castling kingside is very good. My king might actually be decent in the center, just to stay in the center. Yeah, so this is a long think. It was lag. It wasn't a long think. So f6, I'm going to go ahead and play. Hopefully the lag isn't so bad. Oh, it looks like it's actually lag on my part. You see here that it says 110, so that's unfortunate. I'm not sure why I'm lagging. But I am. Now, I can take this f6 pawn right off the bat right now. But then there's knight takes e5. I think I'm gonna just. It's a tough decision. If I want to take this f6 pawn and allow knight takes e5, pawn takes e5, rook takes f6, and then I can play castle queenside. I think that's gonna be pretty decent for me. Because then I'll have my king. I'll be bearing down on the. I can threaten to play e4 as a pawn break. My bishop's going to be more active now. And I think he's going to take, basically his king's somewhat stuck in the center. Yeah, e4 I think is a pretty good threat right away. Because I also have queen to g3 check, which is just going to cause black a lot of headaches or problems. Maybe queen to a5 is no good. Bishop to c6 is not really good. Bishop to e6 might be alright, but I don't really want to block the e-file. C4 might be a decent move. I do want to be wary of my queen and king on the c-file like this, though, especially if I open up the c-file. So he plays bishop to d2. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play e4 with the threat of queen to g3 check, and then I guess king to f1, more likely king to rook to f2. If e takes f4, I mean, I think I'll just maybe try to even just take this pawn and try to march this pawn up a bit. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and play queen to a5 check. I actually didn't see this bishop to f4 move, so that's an interesting move for him. Now I think bishop to d2 is probably best. And then I think I would play queen c7. I don't really want to repeat in this position though. Problem is queen to b5 runs into c4, or actually I think well, queen to b5 with the idea of taking this b2 pawn. That actually seems okay. So he's gonna go over there. That's probably a mistake. I can't imagine that's the right move in this position. I think maybe just bishop to e7. Rook takes, bishop takes, check. C4 is another possibility, because then I have bishop to c5 check. Though I don't really see what that does necessarily. Yeah, I think the problem with this move is bishop takes d3, bishop to c7. It just doesn't do as much as I would want it to. I'm gonna go ahead and play bishop to e7 and just see what happens here. Now rook takes f7, bishop takes check. Then my rooks are connected as well, so maybe this rook, one of these rooks can get to the g file and cause some problems for white's king. Actually, opening up the f file should help out my ability to get at the white king. My queen is a little bit out there. Rook takes h6 is another possibility. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and play c4. Now I'm attacking the bishop, and basically I'm attacking the bishop. And so what was the other part of this plan? Oh yeah, I have bishop to c5, queen to b6 maybe? No. Well, queen to c5, then he has d4. Well, I guess that didn't quite work out like I wanted it to. Maybe just queen to c7? Yeah, I think queen to c7 will work. That should work pretty well. And if the deep pawn takes anything, I'll have a bishop move. Maybe like bishop to c6 with the rook attacking the queen. And I have bishop takes f6 pretty soon, I think. I still need to prepare it a bit. Maybe e takes d3. Queen to g3. I'm not really sure what white's going to do here. Bishop to g4. I think I can win I can win the bishop now, actually. I think I might have been able to do that last move. I'm not sure because I have this resource here. Yeah, I think I actually had that last move too, so right? No, I needed to play c4 to get at this check. So that actually worked pretty well. Yeah. So that the c4 move actually opens up this diagonal, which threatened bishop takes rook, bishop takes queen b6 check, then queen takes bishop, and white resigns. So that was actually a pretty interesting game. We actually only got to move 23, and both of us used a lot of time. I think there was a lot of very difficult moves to figure out, a lot of tactics and stuff. And here e4, I think, well, let's see, maybe bishop to Problem is with bishop to e6 is that the good thing is I protect the f7 pawn, and I don't know, but the problem is it blocks the e file, which is one of the main things I kind of want to have because this king is right here. So now the bishop to f4 idea is actually kind of annoying, and I think here bishop to d2 it's difficult for me to have a response other than queen to c7. So maybe white should have just tried to get a draw here by repetition. If queen to b5, then I think maybe bishop to c3 would work. Possibly just e takes or d takes e4, and then queen takes b2, rook to b1 with some pressure on the b file, and maybe the king could just kind of hide behind some pawns around this area. So I think that king to f2 is a bad move, and that's probably where the game was lost for white. And I think that I'm not sure what I should have done aside from e4. Maybe I messed up a little bit before here. Although I think I have a really solid position at this point. I actually should count the pawns maybe. Am I up a pawn? Yeah, I'm up a pawn. So maybe just bishop to e6 would have been best, and try to play it a little bit slower, because I'm still going to have some pressure here. It's going to be difficult for white to castle queenside for a couple moves anyway. So maybe bishop to e6, bishop to e7, and then e4, or maybe even then c4. That might have worked out a little bit better than what I played in the game, which I think should maybe just lead to a draw, or some complications where white actually looks like he has pretty decent chances, as far as I can see. So it was a pretty interesting game. I hope you enjoyed it. So, and thanks for watching.